Now it feels a little bit more solo-based.
And now it's a question of this team, you know, they were, it was surprising to say the least. I think with the history of roster changes over the course of that team's history, to not see one coming into this phase. And they said, you know, we want to stick together. We want this roster to move through the last phase and into PGC. But now the question remains, if this is kind of the a team that we haven't really seen be under this much pressure and have this much lapse of success, what happens after PGC?
Well, I'm more concerned as a North American caster with what happens during PGC.
Yeah,
if they're playing like this right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Want to have a good performance coming out from our North American teams, but it's all about how everything is gelling together. And in a fashion like that, we're looking at Drassel as he does his nosedive down. A little bit more activities coming out from Ghost. We talked about it last time. Improvements, but we don't have that much time left. You got to improve now.
This is a pivotal game for these two teams who are now neck and neck. Ghost on the way up, Genesis unfortunately still on the way down, at least that's the way it feels. So Ghost needs to maintain momentum, whatever it is, whatever is working over these last 2 days, keep it going because they have the ability to continue to climb. Now let's see if the circle will give them a favor. It's going to be essentially identical to the last game, so it'll be a run back from one game to the next. Can Ghost learn from the last game and hopefully have a little bit more success, even though the last game wasn't a total write-off?
This is one of those big points where coaches are going to be such a big factor, pointing out, hey, this is what didn't work last time. Make this modification. Be aware of this. How fast can you learn and adapt when you get a circle that is so similar back to back?
Looking at the way the map has laid itself out, Endemic finds themselves hopefully a little bit closer to the zone within the first 10 minutes of this game as they did come in late. They did pick up a couple of kills, but United, our other featured team, what do you think they're going to change up now as they no longer get the benefit of the circle here on Sanhok?
I'm kind of curious if we're going to see them cross a little bit earlier. You can see Riot Squad being aware of Wildcard already making their move. Wildcard in a 2-2 split already. Looks like they're trying to carve out a little bit of section of the safe zone for themselves. Riot Squad at least just scaring them away at this point. But as far as United, I don't know, just a little bit cleaner of a rotation down. It felt like they stayed on that northern island a little bit too long last time.
Looking at the leaderboard, Tempo Storm still up top now, as Cameron said, carving out a pretty large lead, 31 points for Tempo Storm, and you don't want to leave Tempo Storm with a big lead going into the last weekend. Lazarus, they're the team I want to see turn the Jets up a little bit. I don't know what that means. It's just, you know, caster speak, but they have this ability to get these high kill wins, but they've been more so in the envy mode where they're getting into that 5th place, 6th place, 6 or 7 kills. Obviously, that's a great placement, but if you want to be number one, you got to start knocking out those 20-plus point kill game or 20-plus point games.
And that's where we saw their greatest performances. When we saw those beautiful building breaches where they were just containing different teams. These guys said that they wanted to be kings of the jungle, that Sanhok was their game.
Yep.
But last time they didn't have the best of performances. They still had I would say, an okay performance.
It's really hard to be super aggro on Sanhok as well because anytime something's happening, you better believe there's 2 or 3 teams that are making their way towards you.
Oh, Valiant's drawing a lot of attention his direction. You saw him taking a couple of shots back over towards Riot Squad a second ago, but Tempo Storm passing narrowly up towards the north. And this is kind of how Sanhok can play. Players can get so close to each other, and it's just a hilltop separating them.
Desk was talking about the importance of coaches, and as time has gone along, PUBG has seen the need for strong coaches to come in, keep teams mentally reset, make sure that the right things are being talked about, worked on, and I don't think there's any team in the league right now that needs a coach or at least someone else to reset them, refocus the strategy than Space Station Gaming. Not a 14th place team by any standard, and to have them in the relegation window with no real signs of life is very surprising for a team that competed on a global stage not that long ago.
A lot of teams moving significantly earlier than last time. See Genesis already regrouping towards the center of the circle, as they're wont to do. United's just a little bit back behind them up towards the north, but a lot of the teams already in their set positions now. Player One Esports being that outlier, and you can see that's not necessarily going the best for them, as a couple people are going to die and get flushed out. So a couple points going over to Ghost Gaming very early in the game.
Valiant did knock, but had his kill stolen, so Player One Esports is going to be sending some points towards Ghost Gaming, all 3 so far. That's going to leave Player One Esports with only 1 player left remaining. That is going to be David, all the way on the southern side. So off the stage and into the fire, as for Player One Esports, it's going to be a rough next game. Or this game, I should say.
A couple of similarities between last game, just to point out, we saw a whole bunch of people around Painan that all got caught up inside of each other. Zenith already made the push back down into that spot, just going to be just to the north of Ghost right now. Genesis opting into trusting their aim. You can see starting to play up towards those hilltops. When you start playing the hilltops on Sanhok, you feel that you can get those big kills. You can see Tempo Storm also doing a similar factor. Problem is, Sanhok, so many trees, so hard to get those long-range shots.
Talking to Logic about how the team, at least Genesis, communicates, it has been a bit of a change. Profi has been less vocal this time around because HWin has come onto the team. He's now the primary shot caller. He's calling the strategy. Nerf also, taking a step back as a leader. And these two guys, Nerf and Profi, I think have been struggling the most with that adjustment. And that might be a bit of the recipe as to why it's been such a janky team fight or team play from Genesis.
Just kind of curious on seeing where Ghost was going. They were about to find themselves in a very precarious situation. United did make that cross down onto the southwestern island, but they're way up towards the northern part of it. In no rush, still just kind of looking around. That has paid off for them in the past. We did see them, I think it was Endemic that they took down one time whenever they held this position. But really, everybody is ahead of them except for Lazarus, who's kind of playing in another part of the circle. So Tempo Storm really leaning into that high ground positioning. As you can see now, Ghost getting those peppering shots as they were trying to make a cross between a ton of teams.
Patron, the lineup, waiting. Oh, just a little bit too long as a nade does land next to Vegas, so he's probably going to be 100% defensive now. The rest of Ghost not too far away from him, and they've got to be right next to Zenith. Any shots coming from them is going to be a go sign there as McCoy contemplating whether or not he should put bullets in his gun.
But you can see Ghost Gaming caught in a lot of different spots right now. They've got Tempo Storm up the hillside. They've got Genesis that's just towards the north. Zenith right next to them as well. Anytime a fight were to break out here, it could be catastrophe for Ghost because so many third parties are going to be a part of this.
Zenith again waiting. Ghost, as soon as someone takes a shot there, it's going to kick off between these two teams. And there it goes. It's going to be Drassel going down first. And now Ghost has got a spring. Drassel, unfortunately, does go down first. Looks like Shrimzy steps up, takes a lot of damage. And now Zenith looks to have the upper hand. Roth will go down. Actually, Shrimzy will take him. And now it's going to be a matter of McCoy looking for those pivotal downs in the back line.
But look, Genesis is starting to make their way down the hillside, seeing if they can get any sights back over there. Tempo Storm as well. Neither
Here
one
comes SSG.
capitalizing off of it, but Space Station Gaming really wants to get something out of this, and this could actually be terrible for Zenith. Their attention's getting drawn back on this other angle. Now Ghost Gaming has a chance to kind of look around, get a feel for what's going on. They've been trying to play around these trees, but look at Space Station Gaming being aggressive, just stepping up that hillside, fighting right next to that rock, trying to find any peak angles they can get, and they do take down Zenith.
No trade there for J-Sank as he will get flushed out. Baja took a lot of damage. J-Sank pressed up and over. And while that was a nice point pickup there for SSG, they did lose 2, I believe, in that skirmish. Luckily for Ghost, they did have a chance to fully reset with SSG coming up and doing all that damage to Zenith and wiping them out. And that's going to give Ghost a little bit of time and space to reset.
Ghost Gaming sitting on 4 kills now. Get that a little bit more space, but not wanting to move anymore. They heard a couple of those shots coming through, realized they were saved by another team. And now they just have to huddle down, figure out what's going on, and it's full information gathering from these guys as Genesis looks like they're contemplating making their way down that hillside. Lazarus still playing around Painan where we saw that before.
Looks like Shrimzy has been spotted. I was going to say it's a strong strategy when you're prone, but unfortunately he was taken down long distance, likely able to be rezzed, however, as Drassel will move across and res Shrimzy. That's 2 downs now for 2 Ghost players, and they will lose likely armor, meds, and helmets in these situations. As Ghost is in an open position, no real hard cover. I think it's only Vegas there hanging out in the shack.
They're just playing along trees, and there's no cover piece to be had. Finally, Genesis wants to get involved, taking a couple of shots back down on here as well. Ghost is just playing in the shade of all of the bullets in their own smokes right now, trying to figure out how they can get out of this terrible position.
Unlucky. Shrimzy tried to save himself by putting him up, by sitting up next to a tree, trying to avoid the Genesis fire, and then Maluk with the bolt-action rifle from distance executes him, so it will be Ghost Gaming losing Shrimzy there.
Genesis seems to be quite content with what they just got, stepping back, getting a little bit more control. I like this from Genesis. Look around. Don't get too much tunnel vision down on one angle. Get a feel for what's moving around you, and that's the way you got to play it when you're towards the center of the circle, and you can see Fozu crawling up next to a rock trying to get a little bit more space, but it looks like Loki is really on the hunt for this and wants to get this kill.
Circle's closing as teams in Endemic has still not made their way into the zone fully. Very, very cautious for them on the northern side. They will have to cross the river and into the main island. and it's going to be Pax finishing off Fozu. That's going to be the first kill going to low key, as Lobes will get the point. And now the question remains for Tempo Storm. They've got the center zone, but they're right next to the Sonics. We've seen this skirmish a couple of times through this game. Meanwhile, low key, eyeballing Tetra, moving off in his vehicle.
Did you see that Fig was actually running a Vector at this stage on a little bit of a lookout? You can see rotations coming out from Vanquish. That's a little bit more space.
That looks like an M4 to me there.
He's got it in the other spot. He had the Vector out in just a second ago.
Oh, a sneaky Vector guy, Fignaldo.
So you can see it on his back. Look, thank you, cameraman. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, we're not playing on the SNG patch, but Fignaldo doesn't care. He wants to use the Vector. Smart man.
I like the Vector at this stage. You can see Space Station Gaming still huddled down where they were in that skirmish just a second ago.
On the live line, the Vector is probably one of the best guns in the game, I would say.
I enjoy using it. It's just got a lot of control, especially once you get it fully kitted out. And I mean,
and it owns. And it's the Vector.
Plus, it's fun. It's a fun sounding gun.
Did you know, Matt, the Vector was the first new gun added to the PUBG once the game came out? It is.
That is way back in the day. I don't remember that far back. I'll give you that one. I don't know.
Little fun fact there for you at home, everybody. Circle shifted, coming all the way south. Vegas, the rest of Ghost Gaming still finding themselves in not really a decent spot. They're just in the spot they were before. SSG is going to retreat, find their hard cover. Lazarus and Pinon, Rumblers come in behind once again. Hopefully Lazarus has been watching the game tape and recognizing that Rumblers are going to run it all the way back. It's going to be the same thing as last time.
I get the feeling that Gunner is about to get really mad at a couple of players, depending on how this goes. Either Lazarus is aware that Rumblers are going to make this approach, and in paying attention last time that information got fed over, Lazarus is waiting to catch it. But, I mean, you can see Rumblers still on the hunt around here. They know that a fight happened here beforehand. They know that they narrowly missed it. So it feels like they're still running a little bit behind of the circle, but trying to making their way into a little bit more of an aggressive point.
Luke is definitely looking this way, and this is a smart adjustment from Lazarus, having Rumblers come in from behind, but Luke doesn't have anyone there with him, so if he does get, he's going to call it out now. He did spot the Rumblers, and that he has no support. They're going to have to rotate back this way, or he's going to have to rejoin his teammates. Look like it's going to be him moving off and joining Uncivil and the rest of the squad.
Well, nobody on Rumblers choosing to go aggressive on top of that, so a little bit more space is going to allow for Lazarus to get at least into a little bit more of a strong position to try to protect Luke. Luke is still in that spot. He still feels very confident in the location for it, just moving upstairs, trying to get a better sight line onto what's going on. Rumblers just giving this whole area a wide berth, opting to kind of circle back around onto this. So if a shift does come over and everybody from Lazarus moves towards Luke, that could leave a very vulnerable backside that could be capitalized off of by Rumblers.
Endemic has not made any moves into the zone yet. They're still on the northern side. They're going to be completely held up by
Nobody can kill you if you never move into the safe zone, right?
Well, Wolf is talking about we need to watch them more, but they're out in the blue doing nothing right now.
Nice grenade does come out from Purdy Curdy. It's going to get down onto Waldo. So Purdy's down, holding down one side of this. Luke back down on the other side of it. Vince did come out from Lazarus, trying to move into
that nade,
positions. Oh, that was nice, Purdy.
I could see that one coming a mile away. Perfectly placed. He's going to take down essentially Waldo and Microfry unless the res can come. Cherry's in the back line, not in position. Here comes Endemic across the bridge, and we will watch them. And unfortunately, Wolf is going to be nuked by Stabs Groza, and it's going to be a very tough cross now as United has been camping them out in the zone.
You know what happened there? Endemic tried to go in the safe zone.
Yeah, that's where you made a mistake.
That's where you made your mistake. You should have just hung out in the blue zone for longer. Ooh. But Sharu, I like this positioning that he's taking on the outside of the railing. That means it's going to be very difficult for Endemic to make the push in on this. Reload's on the outside of this. Keep in mind, they are in the blue, so some damage is going to go back over on both sides of this. But E United does have the inside track on it.
So now I got to wonder, is Stab going to be rezzed, as he's got no teammates near him right now, and the zone is ticking as well as the downstate. So it's going to be Sharu going to the rescue, hoping to avoid any watchful eyes of Endemic. Now down to 2. Reload does take a couple of damage, goes for the repeat, hoping to take down Sharu in the open. Oh, can't get the damage, even something going all the way down, and Endemic is feeling the pressure. The zone will finish moving, and that means the damage will increase. And for both E United and Endemic, they have to decide, is this worth it? Oh, nice shot from Sharu.
Saving Private Stab does not work. The whole plan comes apart on that, but Sharu does get a nice down onto Endemic. So now it's going to force something to post up inside the blue longer. The problem with it is both of these teams are sitting outside the blue, taking a lot of damage. The new circle has popped, and it's away from this part of the circle.
Oh, Sharu going to go down. This is feeling like there's no upside for either team. Something to the zone. And Rello will go down as well. So there goes Endemic, 14th place.
So now E United has to figure out, okay, how do we salvage anything that's going on? It feels
they're
like
ticking hard, man.
They need to go get those meds at this
Taylor's
point.
going to go down.
Rumblers are kind of stuck out in the blue. Lazarus are just getting ahead of it, but they did leave Civ back behind.
And Shrew will get it finished off. So United, while they did successfully camp Endemic out, it likely have cost them a decent placement in this game.
And that's a full Thanos meme right there. What did it cost you? Everything. So got a couple of kills out of it, but now it's getting a little bit more violent right along the blue as everybody's being forced, funneling up next to each other. We've got Sonic's taking a couple of shots back down towards Wildcard. Wildcard in a world of hurt right now, trying to figure out how they're going to make the push through there. And Woolie's teaching that ground some respect.
Get out of my face, grass. Oh,
nice
Kickstart gets up in Woolie's face with a nice shot from distance. And now it's going to be Sonic's trying to sort this thing out. They do seem to have the upper hand against Wildcard. The zone, however, is going to be doing even more damage once this zone closes. It's only Kickstart left.
Something to note, Taylor J is taking some shots in the backside of this skirmish. He is going to go down to the blue as well. But Genesis is also in a little bit of trouble as Ghost does spot them out. Ghost now up to 5 kills, and Genesis has got the high ground position, but Ghost kind of on 2 different points. Note the fact that Vegas is off to the side of this fight, so it could be a big problem for Genesis.
Meanwhile, Lazarus and Rumblers getting into it elsewhere. Wildcard will be finished off by the Sonics. Tony V does go down to the zone, and Genesis is going at Ghost. Now the spray comes out from K-Mine, the nade follow-up. He knows exactly where Vegas is. The cook is... looks like, oh, maybe just a little too short. Yeah, it will hit the rock and bounce away. And Vegas will continue to live. Looks like they did get the no res on H-Win. Still 3 strong. No kills for Genesis yet.
Do note the fact that Rumblers, Microfry, has moved into a similar position as Vegas is looking at this, trying to figure out what is going on the outside of it. He's not inside the safe zone yet, so depending
Vegas
on how he moves.
1 HP.
Yeah, Vegas is dead at this point. Now it's just on to McCoy. Lazarus, here's what's going on, is trying to capitalize off of this, doing a little bit of third party on the outside, but that has drawn Genesis' attention.
And Nerf will finish off Microfire of all people, as Rumblers did come up here. Lazarus is there as well, and they're pushing straight forward. This is the Lazarus we wanted to see being aggressive, and now it's only McCoy and Genesis left, but they do have 3 players, so let's see if Lazarus can make something happen here on the edge of the zone.
Lazarus is being a little bit patient on this, and that's giving time for Genesis to get their meds back up. McCoy just watching this so patiently. Alo's going to move on the outside of this. He has to med up the other 2 members of Lazarus, pushing back over towards Genesis. A lot of damage coming back over towards Nerf.
There's no placement points here. I'm wondering why McCoy waited to pull the trigger there, but maybe he's waiting to spring some sort of crazy trap as McCoy will blow Alo up with a grenade up close. I don't know how that happened, but it did.
This is just turning into these solos, doing a little bit of damage, drawing attention out in different directions, stalling these fights. Genesis is capitalizing off of this. This is allowing them to get all their meds back up, all these reses back. I say that as we do see a third party comes in and does knock down Profi.
McCoy is just the man in the middle. He's got 2 teams fighting literally on top of him. The molly's landing all around, and here's Tempo Storm from distance, prone SLR. K-Mine and Genesis have to make something happen here. Luke and K-Mine trading. It will be Luke getting the rough end of the stick, but K-Mine's going to go down to the zone, and now Nerf is going to get finished off by Uncivil. There goes Genesis, but a point denial, and now McCoy is going to get a placement point out of this.
Look at this. McCoy is still holding the angle. Civ knows where he's at.
Does he?
But Civ is inside the blue right now, so we're going to have to figure out how he's going to do it. Yeah, he's just holding that angle,
I don't think
waiting
he knows.
For the outside. Apparently he doesn't. McCoy, does he hear the footsteps?
He can hear him for sure. He's right next to him, but I think he's on the other side of the rock. Another underhand grenade. The
how's he
cook.
going to throw it? It's a little bit far.
Oh, now he knows.
I think you heard the pull. So now the peak battle's back and forth.
Oh,
He
no!
does get it. Somehow survives, but does go down in the end. Buys 2 different placement points and gets a kill out
That's
of it.
a good play from McCoy. That's very valuable points for Ghost Gaming and Lazarus, a team above them, and Genesis. I think Ghost is going to move up here.
Circle itself is pretty quiet. You can see Tempo Storm holding down the center. Also a little bit of separation out coming from them. But it's going to be Vanquish Gaming and Riot Squad that are kind of contending off to the side of this right now. A little bit of a shot's going to come out from Vanquish as they do manage to spot out and flush VZ.
Civ is pissed, by the way.
Just a little
Absolutely
bit.
beside himself. Tempo Storm, center zone. We're going to see another circle shift. Baja and SSG on the northern side getting some damage. As Envy's actually got a ton of time and space. You can see them on the right-hand side of the screen.
Riot Squad just storms back up into Vanquish's face, gets it down out of it, gets flushes as well. Now just looking around. Keep in mind, Sharpshot was playing away from the rest of his team. He was doing that sniper role. He's going to have to move back over towards his teammates, which are inside the safe zone now. 4 kills for Riot Squad at this point, and they're going to have to carve out a little bit of section of the circle ahead of them.
Envy's looking pretty good here. They've got 4 up, and they've got a little bit of cover to work with. Tempo Storm's going to have Riot Squad moving towards him. Maluk with the bolt-action rifle. Obviously, he hasn't listened to a word I've had to say, but that's all right. If anyone has some leeway in this league, it is Tempo Storm and Maluk, and he's going to go down as Leda with the QBU, trying to show some DMR supremacy. And now I wonder if Envy is going to want to push further across the zone. I don't know if they want to try and make that push yet, Matt.
So Riot Squad, no fear. A lot of times whenever you see somebody take a couple of shots, realize it's Tempo Storm, they kind of put on the brakes and go, okay, let's go a different direction. Riot Squad, and it says, no, this is the way we want to get inside this circle. So pushing back up, Envy can look back down into this, but Mystery hits a shot back over towards Sharp Shot. It's just a continued push, but finally they do reveal themselves. Leda goes down on a very aggressive push.
Mystery also getting third party, has just a little bit of cover to work with. It's Sharky watching with the M4. The 4 times at the ready, the zone is there. And Envy actually doesn't have to move that much. They have a great vantage. They are uphill, you can't tell from the map. But, oh, nice spray there. Sharky will get 2, and it's Riot Squad down in 5th place.
One thing to note is Baja Waka is still alive, and he's been watching this back and forth exchange, slowly creeping his way into the safe zone, trying to find that nice angle. I think that he's aware that Tempo Storm might be a little bit weakened.
He's taking a lot of damage. He's taking a lot of damage.
He's got to be careful. He wants this grenade. It could be big. It could spell doom for Tempo Storm.
It's in.
It goes inside there.
Oh!
It does manage to get them nice shots, but he's going to go down as well.
That was a beautiful grenade from Baja. Absolutely clutch moment. He does go down, but that eliminates Tempo, I believe. So that's going to be a nice dead man grenade there from Baja, and that's a bright point for him.
And now we end up in a 4v4. It's going to be Envy on one side of the circle, and it's going to be Low-Key on the other part of it. Looking back, a little bit of separation coming out from the Low-Key members. Big off to the side of this. The rest of the members of Low-Key trying to play along this hillside.
That was a top-tier grenade. I love it. So Envy is going to probably want to try and take some zone control. You can see Taro and Patcaps looking down for the flanker. Easily spotted, flushed out. There goes Fignaldo. And Low-Key has got to be feeling the heat. They have shown us at least once today that they're not super great at locking down these end games. Let's see if they've got some magic in the tank.
More and more pressure coming out as Envy moves into the circle. They're just bouncing from tree to tree.
With a
getting
zone.
More control over this area. They have to stay ahead of the blue zone, but they manage to do it. Grenade blows up right in Chubba Bubba's face. He's got to drop back down. That means there's only 2 people trying to hold out this push from him.
Hasn't been watching Pride. That the grenades are coming from him. So now with the rest of Envy have a little bit of a foothold. Pax in a pivotal position. Wide open flank. Can't get any shots to land. He does take Taro down a little bit, but Low-Key is not active enough.
Moody right up in the face. Gets the shots back over towards
Pat.
Follows it up with another one. Takes some damage off of this, but Low-Key still trying to figure out what they're going to do. They finally managed to make it inside the safe zone. Lobes is holding the angle, but Envy now has the opening that they wanted so much.
This is a beautiful setup. Another grenade from Moody. Lobes has got to be feeling the pressure. That grenade's in the gut. Well placed from Moody. And what a terrific end game for